I was waving to Lori, but she was ignoring me. Hi, Lori.
Hi, what's her title?
She's the Chief Finance Officer.
Okay. CFO.
And Ty, you told them 5 minutes. 5 minutes you told them? Right?
We are live.
It's 7 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And we'll forego the pledge of allegiance and moment of silence. We did it in our meeting earlier. And so I'd like to go right to roll call, if I may.
Commissioner Answorthy,
Here.
Commissioner Rushton,
Present.
Chairman Bonnet,
Here.
Commissioner Wessel,
Here.
Commissioner Studesblittle,
Here.
Commissioner Rettenbach,
Here.
Commissioner Lautner. Present.
Thank you. So then that would bring us to communications, proclamations, and presentations. And we have Lori Fisher here from Northern Lakes. You are on the air.
Hi, this is Joni Blamer, also with Lori Fisher. So we're here to present today because Carl Kovacs, our CEO, could not be here. He's on a leave of absence. So my name is Joni Blamer, and I'm the acting CEO for Northern Lakes Community Mental Health Authority. And of course, with me today, as you know, is Lori Fisher, our Chief Financial Officer. And we appreciate you having us today. So as you know, we are a local governmental authority created under enabling resolution by 6 counties: Crawford, Grand Traverse, Leelanau, Missaukee, Roscommon, and Wexford. We are funded by Medicaid with additional supports from the state of Michigan, our 6 counties, and some grants. We want to thank Leelanau County for the $139,700 of local monies you give us to support us in the work that we do. We operate 4 lines of business: behavioral health services, which encompasses all of our mental health services, an integrated health clinic in Grand Traverse and Crawford counties, which provides primary care services to individuals. Our OBRA services, which is a federal mandate relating to the Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act of 1987, with a primary focus of addressing the relationship nursing facilities have with people that have intellectual developmental disabilities or mental illness. We also have a My Choice program, which is a home and community-based waiver program to serve people in the community rather than a nursing home. The My Choice program has been expanded to over 22 counties in northern Michigan and operates at about $11 million. But today I'm focusing on providing an update on the Medicaid dollars because it is your local match dollars that allow Leelanau County to draw down the Medicaid monies and thereby services. On the first page of the materials that we sent you, which is titled NLCMHA Summary of Services Delivered in FY 2019 by County, you will find a summary of our services. Northern Lakes delivered robust services totaling close to $63 million. This accounted for almost 500,000 of care transactions, such as case management, outpatient therapy, and crisis services. On the bottom of the page, you will see that we broke that down by the primary populations that we serve, which are intellectual developmental disabilities, children and families with serious emotional disturbance, and adults with mental illness. You can see that we served 5,109 people, and the majority of those were adults with mental illness. In Leelanau County specifically, we served 102 individuals with severe mental illness, 19 children and families with serious emotional disturbance, and 53 people with intellectual developmental disabilities that we refer to as IDD. The individuals with IDD account for the largest cost of Leelanau County at just over $2.5 million. Many of these individuals are receiving community-based care so that they can live in their community and free from an institution. The services for adults with mental illness in this county totaled around $744,000, and services to children and families was around $78,000. The total cost of services delivered to Leelanau County residents was $3.3 million. On the second page, we provided information of the services specific to Leelanau County, and the pie chart there demonstrates a breakdown of that cost by our service categories as an easy reference for the whole picture. So you can see that we provided just over 42,000 transactions of care to Leelanau County residents, and 74% of those were in residential and living supports. You can also see that we do bear the cost of inpatient psychiatric care, and that accounted for 5% of the care transactions for your constituents. On page 3 of your packet, we break down the full cost for all counties we serve, again with an easy pie chart for that reference. You can see that across the board, our largest cost is for people who need residential living arrangements and community living support. And we provided just over $33.7 million worth of care transactions in this category alone. This again allows people to live in their community rather than being in an institution, and thereby enhancing the quality of life for the people that we serve. On the following pages 4 and 5 in your packet, this represents the face sheet or fact sheets that we have. You've likely seen these before, and we can mail you copies if you wish for easy reference and distribution. These show that we have critical information about our vision, mission, and values. And it also has information about our services as well as our budget. And equally as important, it has contact information, including our crisis line. In your packet on page 6, you'll find our behavioral health one-page document that provides an overall summary of who we are and what we do. This is important for us to share with people because it shows us that 1 in 5 people experience a mental illness in their lifetime. So it's very common. And access to care when you're experiencing symptoms is really important. And you can see that Northern Lakes sees people within 14 days of request 99% of the time. You can also see in this document that we have an extra layer of care for children and families experiencing a crisis with our Family Assessment Safety Team. This team provides care in the home and the community when requested, and it's assessed safe to do so. You will also find on this page that our overhead cost is noted very low at 6.5%. Our efficiency in providing care in complex situations allows us to quickly adapt when providing care in alternative ways, such as using technology when it's necessary. I'm very proud of our staff and the care that they provide to these vulnerable populations. But as with any organization providing health care, we have faced some challenges. The COVID-19 pandemic impacted everyone, and we weren't spared. In March, we made a pivot from office community-based care to community telehealth care, and we were successful in making that a pivot occur in less than 2 weeks' time. Our offices have remained open throughout the pandemic response to care for people in need of walk-in services. And originally, we experienced a small decrease in demand, but within a short couple of months, we began to see an increase in our crisis calls and for the request for children and family services. The challenges we faced during the transition, and in some cases to date, were obtaining enough personal protective equipment, or PPEs, for staff to safely provide those services in the home or community. This included providing injections, responding to crisis calls in person, and delivering food. We also faced the challenge of assisting people with obtaining services via technology, especially considering that many of the people that we provide services to do not have data plans to support telehealth. Therefore, we took iPads out to homes, we laid them on porches, people took them into their house, we were able to provide episodes of care, and when we were finished, they returned the iPad to the porch, we brought them back, sanitized them, and prepared them for future use. Our investment in technology and the support that we received from community members donating the PPEs allowed us to seamlessly continue care during the pandemic. Another challenge we faced is having limited resources and being able to recruit and retain direct care workers in our geographic region. Further, we're at risk of losing the staff that we do have as a result of low wages. The pandemic brought this concern to the forefront of the state, and as a result, the state of Michigan passed an increase in the direct care wages that we have passed on to those in our region. We understand this is a Band-Aid and realize that some AFC homes have had to shut down as a result of low wages and inability to recruit and retain employees. This is not only a concern for NLCMHA, but all of the CMH areas in the region and the state. While we continue to work on addressing the challenges and reducing our risk from those challenges, we have had positive impacts. For example, the wage increase I just spoke about was about $2 per hour and was passed on to our provider network. This totaled close to $500,000 being passed between April 1st and June 30th. In a second phase from July 1st through September 30th, the state of Michigan expanded the wage increase beyond community and in-home care to include services provided in clinics and centers. Additionally, Northern Lakes has increased stability for our provider network by providing $230,000 of income to providers who had to shut down or nearly shut down during the executive order requirements. Another example of positive outcomes, as I mentioned earlier, is the My Choice program. This program expanded from a 10-county service area to a 22-county service area. It helps people remain independent and living in their community rather than living in a nursing home. In Grand Traverse and Leelanau counties, we have been successful in obtaining a grant from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services to provide juvenile justice diversion services. We have been working closely with the prosecutor's office in each county to assess children and adolescents who have been recently charged or at risk of entering the legal system. The program began receiving referrals in June 2020, and we are looking forward to the positive outcomes that it will have. It's also important to note that the state of Michigan has given Northern Michigan the opportunity to expand the behavioral health homes to 21 counties. NLCMHA has been a behavioral health home for many years now, and we will work with our counterparts to develop and implement this program, which will increase access to health care and improve integrated health care for all of Northern Michigan residents. All of the good work we do can be seen in the economic impact we have had for Northern Michigan, and specifically for those living and working in the counties we serve. As you will see in our annual report that's found on pages 7 through 10 in your packet, specifically on the bottom of page 9, you will see that Northern Lakes has supported more than $140.7 million in total economic activity. The direct impact of delivering services is $71 million. The indirect impact of economic activity that staff and providers bring to our region through their wages means they are paying things such as state income taxes and property taxes, which also has a ripple effect in terms of purchasing goods and services in our region. This indirect economic impact is $69.7 million. This is all important to understanding how we use your local monies to not only provide services to those in need, but also how we invest in the local economy. So I know in the information and the little bit of time that I've had here today, we've given you a lot of information to digest, and Lori and I are here to answer any questions that you might have.
Do you have any questions?
A whole lot in 12 minutes.
Well, Mr. Chair, I would just compliment both of our presenters tonight. I see them work at board meetings, and I'm really impressed with all of the community mental health board staff, and here's two of the leaders.
Thanks for having us.
Well, thank you. And I'm sorry, Joni, that I didn't introduce you at the beginning of it.
Oh, that's okay. I snuck in pretty early, so I was just kind of quiet here, and I didn't have my mic on or my camera.
No, I thank you for all the work that you do, and we do really appreciate it. You know, that we'll read through this, and I'm sure we can get a hold of you if we do have any questions.
Absolutely, you can.
All right. Or we'll give them all to Ty and they can find the answer.
That's a better idea. I love it. Thanks, Ty.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
So then we'll move on for approval of board minutes. We have a slew of them here. Commissioner Ansel.
I would like to exclude the September 8th executive board session meeting minutes, but other than that, if you don't mind, I'd like to move that we approve the meeting minutes for the VOC regulars, or for the closed session minutes for December 17th, 2019, March 10th, 2020, March 17th, 2020, July 21st, 2020, July 29th, 2020, and August 11th of 2020. I can just do those in one big sweep if you don't mind.
I'll second.
Okay, any comments? Does this have to be a roll call for the close? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand.
Aye.
All those opposed, give the same sign. The motion passes 7-0. Commissioner Rushton.
I just would like to point out at this time on the August 18th meeting minutes, page 5, the last motion, third line, where I had asked for the inclusion of the word equality. So I would like that correction made.
So I'll draw a line through equity and change everything to equality.
Is that correct?
Just in that one line is
Just
all you
one
need
line.
to do, because
Okay.
everything else reads correctly.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah. Just that one word.
Okay.
Commissioner Ansel.
Yes, I would like to move to approve the meeting minutes for the special session of July 29th, 2020, the regular session August 18th, 2020,
With correction.
as corrected. Thank you. Budget work session July 29th, 2020, and the budget work session of August 13th, 2020.
I'll second.
Commissioner Slittle.
Yes. I have a minor correction on the July 29th meeting, page 3. Come down, can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yes, but we're wondering if it's a budget or the special one.
No, this is the regular, not the budget. The July 29th, it's the first one on the list. It's
Okay,
Wednesday's
it's a
special session. Okay, and it's page 3. And on page 3, if you come down to under review and approval of economic development grant, come down 1, 2, 3 paragraphs, and the line says there is a clause in a deed that is, and it goes on, it should be the deed. Because it's the deed we were talking about, which is Glen Arbor's deed. That's it. Small change, but an important one.
Is that fine with the motion maker?
Yes, so change that.
And a second.
In a second. Okay, any other comments? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, the same sign. The motion passes 7-0. Thank you. So that completes the minutes. So then we would move on then to approval of the agenda. I don't have any late additions that I know of. Commissioner Ansel.
I would move to approve the agenda as presented.
Or,
All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, do the same sign. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. So then when do we now, so then that would bring us to public comment. If there is any public comment, please call in number 231-256-8109, 231-256-8109. And ladies could come forward if you want. That's the next thing on the agenda. While we're waiting there, you have a comment.
Well, call for public comment. Okay, I should speak. Okay. Go ahead, please, ma'am.
Yes, this is Sue Miller calling from Lake Leelanau, and I'd like to thank our commissioners for moving forward on the Benzie Leelanau Health Department proposal for providing early childhood services for 2021 and bringing it to a vote tonight. I've been following the implementation progress this year and would like to comment that families of young children have received services throughout the quarantine period and are receiving virtual as well as in-person services now. The health department has provided seamless services, meeting many families' health needs while counseling and assisting them in connecting to resources that have allowed them to get through this difficult time. So I look forward to a unanimous vote of approval tonight to extend the health department's early childhood programming through 2021. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to comment because I got an email last week that someone called and they said the phone was busy. So if there's people are listening, if the phone is busy, that means someone's on the line, please call back again.
Yes, and I'll say that, the phone is now available. If you want to still make a public comment, please call 231-256-8109. We may get interrupted here, but
That's
you
fine.
Go ahead and get started.
Well, let me ask, first of all, would you like me to repeat what we already went, the whole thing? Do you want a brief synopsis? I didn't think so. And Tony, you'll probably hear it again at our Board of Health, so.
Would you read it, but slower than you did last time?
Yeah, I can go slower, yeah. Let's read every word in the document. So I'm wondering, did you get, we sent out a list of the measures you'd asked for?
Thank you for that. And
Okay.
I guess what I was gonna say is if you've got something new to add, or you wanna tell us today, maybe we'll just start there.
I don't necessarily have anything new about the proposal, but I will share some. I know Sue Miller had called, and I asked Autumn to just give me an update on what's going on with our parenting communities and the services we have provided. So she gave me just a brief update. I thought I'd share with you. So they have, now, keeping in mind, we signed this contract March 1st, and that's like the week that COVID hit. So we've been dealing with this all year. And so our team reached out to 350 families in our county, of families with young children. 100, or over 100 of them they really connected with, and we're able to help link them up with resources, giving them information about parenting communities and the early childhood programming that was going on. We partnered with Leelanau Christian Neighbors to help distribute some of the baby and food pantry items during the time when they were closed, so families couldn't access services. April and May, they tried to do some virtual play groups that didn't go over overly well. So in June, we started doing outdoor play groups and had approximately 3 families on average that attended those. And those were in Maple City, Northport, Elmwood, Suttons Bay, Leland, and Cedar. So, it's difficult. We also had yoga for kids, and that was in Suttons Bay. So in the process right now, and I think we talked about this last time, at looking at, where can we meet now with these families? Where can we have social gatherings in park pavilions, or are there bigger indoor spaces that we can look at? They've continued to do home visits, mostly virtual, working with the families, though some of them have been in person, some have been outdoor visits. Since March, we've enrolled 12 new families in home visiting, which I think is tremendous given, what we're working with right now. They started a newsletter, and I did share the newsletter with you last time. So they have a newsletter, they have a calendar that's distributed, started a Facebook account as well as an Instagram account. So they're building the social media presence as well. So that's what they've been doing for the last 6 months.
I just had a couple of questions.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know, what I've read about yoga, I thought it's kind of a religion, so I'm surprised that you were doing yoga.
Oh, it's more of a
I know that everybody.
exercise
than
than
actually a religion when if you study it deeply. So I am surprised. The other thing, other question I had is that you talk about that you're going to deliver the best public values, and I'm wondering what you mean by public values.
That's a great question, actually. I think there are two sides of that. We look at what is it that our young families, what do they value? What do they need to be stronger and more supported? And there's a variety of things for each family. And then there's the actual dollars and cents. I mean, we know that the impacts of assisting families and supporting families when those kids are young are seen throughout the lifespan of those kids, and even for those families. They're more socioeconomically stable, and they're healthier physically, their mental health is better, they have less substance abuse. There's all kinds of long-term impacts. So you have that economic value as well.
Well, and that's what I'm wondering, is when you talk about public values, are you talking morals then?
No, we're not talking morals at all.
No? I mean, I guess I'm not sure what it is when we're going to discuss public values, and you say the earlier the better, that you deliver the best public values. And so,
no. In fact, it's very much, in our public health world anyway, it's very much meeting every family where they're at and what their individual goals are, and how they want to raise their kids. This isn't about us pushing any of our personal values on anybody else at all, not at all. So, but we want our families to be strong. We want them to be economically strong. We want parents to feel confident in their parenting. We want kids to be able to be successful when they get into school. We want everybody to be healthy physically. And so those are the kind of values we're talking.
And I think too, I'm just looking at where that comes up in the document, and it's actually public value, not with a S at the end, and so, no, that's okay. So I mean, I'm not criticizing, I'm just saying, I think what we mean by that is the value of the services, and it also speaks, I think, to the efficiency and, the way that we do meet families where they are, and we do provide the services that they need. It's not a matter of forcing, programs or services or anything on people that don't need them. It's really assessing the community and what are the needs of the community, and then developing programs that are valuable to the community, but also have an economic value as well.
So when you talk about common, common educational entities in there, then I'm not sure then, the value, if you're putting a value on that then, or you're leading them up to common educational entities?
I don't know exactly where that is in the document, but I think what we're referring to, and we kind of toss that around because we want kids to be where they need to be and be prepared for, and families to prepared when they go into when they're old enough for a more formal education. But we know for some that's homeschooling, for some that's preschool, for some it's kindergarten, for some they aren't going to go till first grade, or they're going to do virtual school.
So are those all common educational entities?
That's kind of what we're saying is whatever educational path a family is choosing to take, I guess, what their family said. Yeah, I think that's what. Yeah.
I haven't heard those terms used much.
Well, we didn't want to just say going to kindergarten at our public school, because that may not be their choice, so.
I wanted to thank you for including the focus on the school readiness in the body of the proposal, and I think educators that I've heard since that report was released are pleased that what they're doing is supporting that as one of the goals. But I wanted you to speak because Jeff Rushton last week, I think, was the one that asked about outcomes, and you sent something to us. Could you speak just a little bit to the
Yeah.
piece you sent to us?
You know what, and I didn't bring that, and I wish I had. I forgot that piece of paper. However, what that was is that is a list of some of the standardized tools that we'll be using to measure outcomes for families that we're working with, particularly for home visiting. So there's, developmental assessments for kids. There's things like depression scales and parental stress for families and protective factor surveys. So these are tools that have been vetted. They're standardized. They're well known in the community. And, so they give us a good indication on whether we're helping. It's a more objective indication on whether we're helping, or whether.
The point I wanted to make is that when we're done with this in a year, we're going to know the difference that we made, and it won't be just subjectivity, but it'll be objective.
It'll be both. Yeah, we want both the subjective and objective.
And you were right, Lisa. I looked at my note, and it does say public value.
Value.
Okay.
I guess I added that, yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. It just has a different meaning to me, so.
Still a good question.
It was
If
an
you
important
saw
letter.
that, someone else might as well. So it's okay to answer the question.
Can I get a clarification on the proposed motion? The motion says to enter an agreement with the Benzie Health Department for services not to exceed for $640,000 pending council review and approval. I assume you want to review it before it gets approved, but the motion says just pending council review. So I would suggest that you add pending council and board of commissioners review. Because normally we bring it back to the board, but in the motion, it almost sounds like if the council approves it, it's approved. So I would say add board of commissioners review.
Good catch, Chuck.
One last thing for me. You mentioned a newsletter. Is that a virtual newsletter?
It is. It's emailed out, and there's hard copies too. And when we start seeing people more in person, we'll be able to
What I was
distribute.
going to ask is that you make sure that that newsletter gets either to the administrator so he can disperse it to the commissioners.
Absolutely.
That'll keep us up on some of the things that are going on. And-
Sure. We would be happy to.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if we don't get it, then we'll check with Chet.
Yes. We'll put Chet on the email list.
It's always your fault, Chad.
It's over.
Yeah. And ultimately, I think I mentioned this before. I mean, we would love to have a web page a page on the county website where we can have all this information for our families, and
Well,
would include this too. So, well, we put a little bit of money in the budget. I don't, we'll
We can
see.
work out the details.
We'll work out the details. Yeah.
I'm looking for a motion. Just please, Commissioner Sudislo.
Thank you. And if I don't get it quite right with a new addition, please correct it. But I move to the Board of Commissioners to enter into an agreement with the Benzie Leelanau District Health Department for early childhood services as presented at a cost not to exceed $640,910, pending council and Board of Commission approval. Funds to come from account number 101.525.601.967.002.
Support.
And if
I
I'm,
think it should say review.
Review and approval.
oh, review,
Word review was left
review
out.
and approval.
Yeah. Is that, yeah, okay. Is that okay with the second? Add that.
Thank you.
And if I may speak to that just briefly, I just want to congratulate Lisa and Michelle on a Herculean job, putting this together during COVID. It's amazing what you've done and to pull it off and to provide the services that have been provided to so many families thus far. Talk about timing, it was perfect, but it was a long journey also just getting to this point, I know. And your participation way back on the county committee for early childhood was incredibly important. And I thank the people who approved this millage and moved it forward. So I think we're going to see big things, important things coming out of the early childhood program over the next year. And just thank you for all your effort and time and energy, because I know it's been a lot. So, and I also want to thank my co-chair, Tony Ansorgi, and Peachy Rentenbach, and Barbara Conley on the board who have worked hard on this too. So thank you.
And Ty, we don't want to forget Ty.
And Ty. My apologies, Ty and Ty.
So, any other comments? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, the same sign. The motion passes 7-0. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, we look forward to the next steps. Moving on.
Now you have to get to work.
That's right. Thanks
All
so
right,
much.
And that brings us to the request of the Marine Safety Fund. To Commissioner Locker.
I move to approve to authorize the sale of the Marine Division 1994 Four Winds Open Bow 203 Horizon Coast Runner 200 horsepower Evinrude motor and Four Winds trailer by auction.
Support.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, the same sign. Motion passes 7-0. Commissioner Rushing.
I would move to approve that the Board of Commissioners enter into an agreement with the Village of Suttons Bay to supply the village with one full-time deputy for the calendar year 2021.
Support. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, the same sign. Motion passes 7-0. That brings us to the grant award. Commissioner Rushing.
I would make the motion to accept the CESF grant award from the Michigan State Police on behalf of the Department of Justice in the amount of $35,719.36. Those funds to be deposited into a revenue account to be determined once the grant has been accepted.
Support.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, the same sign. Motion passes 7-0. That brings us to the prosecuting attorney grant. Commissioner Rushing.
Yeah, I would make the motion to accept the CESF grant award from the Michigan State Police on behalf of the Department of Justice in the amount of $6,471.22. Funds to be deposited into a revenue account to be determined once the grant has been accepted.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, the same sign. Motion passes 7-0. Commissioner Wesson.
I move to approve the MMRMA RAP grant for 2021 aerials and submit prior to the deadline of October 2, 2020.
It's an application, RAP grant application.
Yes, support.
Or is it?
No, we're just applying for the grant.
Right.
I believe you left the word application out.
It was not in the suggested
Yeah,
motion.
it should be,
Right.
right? Madam
Yeah,
Clerk?
It is a grant application though.
It is a grant
Yeah,
application.
yes.
Yeah,
Would
I was trying
I'd be
to
happy to add that to my motion.
And support.
All right, and welcome Commissioner Lautner supports it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I wasn't clear on that, you know. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, the same sign. Motion passes 7-0. Clerk?
Oh, back up on the action item number 3 for the prosecuting attorney courts acceptance of the CESF. The amount that was stated this morning, the courts portion of that also came in. Is it possible to have the second half of that motion done? with this because we do have that paperwork so that they can order the whole project. And it,
What is this?
So is the dollar amount different? Is that what you're saying? So I have an incorrect dollar amount?
well, the dollar amount for the prosecutor's portion was the $6,471.22. And then the courts came in and it was $9,643.92.
Additional.
Yeah.
We need a motion to accept the CESF grant award from the state of, from the Michigan State Police on behalf of the Department of Justice for the courts
Mhm.
in the amount of $9,643.92 and funds to be deposited into a revenue account to be determined once the grant has been accepted.
Should they have not done a late addition for this? It's not on the agenda.
I don't,
I'm just asking the question.
I don't know, and if that was needed, they could move to set the
Well,
rules aside.
we can do it under accepting CFS grants.
That's
So
what
we
I
can do
was-
it under that.
It does say prosecutor and courts.
And works.
C slash
And
courts.
it's to accept dollars, at least, so it's not expense, right?
Yeah, I just don't want them to have a challenge.
Was that seconded?
If everyone agrees.
Yes. Commissioner Wessel seconded the motion. Any other questions or statements? Thank you for bringing that forward to us. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, the same sign. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. So then that would bring us to, I think we're to equalizations. Commissioner Wessel.
I move to approve a millage rate that does not exceed the maximum allowable millage levy, column 9, and place that millage rate in column 10 as the millage rate requested to be levied December 1, 2020, and return Form L-4029 to the Equalization Department.
Support.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, the same sign. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. So that brings us again to equalization, approval of addendum. Commissioner Lochner.
I would move to approve the addendum to the agreement with Ask Services Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $25,000 with funds to come from 516-000.000-801.000.
Second.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, the same sign. I'd ask for a roll call vote on that. The motion passes 6-1, but just so we can
Document it for the
document it, so people who can't see can get it. Sorry about that.
Commissioner Lautner,
Yes.
Commissioner Rettenbach,
Yes.
Commissioner Rushton,
Yes.
Commissioner Sarswell,
Yes.
Commissioner Wessel,
Yes.
Commissioner Answorthy,
No.
Commissioner Bonnet,
Yes,
6-1.
thank you. Commissioner Rushton.
I would move to waive board policy on bid requirements and authorize the emergency management director to enter into an agreement with Swagger Communications in order to complete a structural analysis of the existing tower at the law enforcement center in the amount of $6,200. Those funds to come from Fund 518, ending in 801.000.
Support.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, the same sign. The motion passes 7-0. Thank you. And that brings us to administration and Indigenous Peoples' Day. Commissioner Wesson.
I move to approve the resolution as presented in highlighted areas as distributed prior to the meeting.
I'll support.
Support.
For people in the audience, could you just highlight what those changes are, modifications.
The first highlighted area was whereas in 1990, Congress passed a joint resolution requesting the president designate November as National American Indian Heritage Month by a proclamation of the President of the United States. That was the first edit. The second one was further be it resolved that Leelanau County shall recognize the National American Indian Heritage Month of November, and then further be it resolved that Indigenous Peoples Day and National American Indian Heritage Month should be used to reflect the ongoing challenges posed to Indigenous people of this land and to celebrate their continued existence and culture, and to honor and appreciate their commitment to protecting and preserving the earth, her resources, and all living beings.
Did you ask for it?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So this would have to be a roll call vote.
Commissioner Wessel,
Yes.
Commissioner Answorthy,
Yes.
Commissioner Bonnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Lautner,
Yes.
Commissioner Rettenbach,
Yes.
Commissioner Rushton,
Yes.
Commissioner Sissetle,
Yes.
7-0.
Thank you. The only thing I, and maybe I'm a little bit, but I was wishing, do we then, this replaces the original one? Do we need to state that, or does everybody agree that this would replace the other resolution?
Well,
Or you leave them both in existence?
I'm lost. Are you talking about the one we did last year or the original one that was presented last week?
Well, it's the original one that we passed, last year or 2 years ago? And that's still a resolution that we have passed. And I'm thinking that we're doing this one, so then we replace any previous ones. And I'm just wondering if that's okay with this board, if we just do that, other than having both, they would, not that they conflict with each other, but.
I'm comfortable with that.
yeah, I guess I'm not exactly sure how it works as far as resolutions go. It is on record as being a resolution we passed.
Right.
As long as we do have an understanding that this is
This is
the one that's in play for 2020 and beyond until.
I just wanted to make sure
Okay.
that this board understood it, and that's what the clerk understands, and
Okay.
that the other one doesn't, have to be there, but it's in the record.
Yeah.
It'll be in the record, and I'll reassign this one a 2020 number, and I suppose you could always.
We don't want to rescind. That'd be our only other option, I suppose, would be to rescind.
I
and
can
I don't
always note it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I just was trying to clarify it.
Okay.
All right. So then that brings us to the non-union personnel policy revision. Mr. Russell.
I move that the Leelanau County Board of Commissioners approve the revisions as presented to the non-union personnel policy effective immediately, pending legal counsel review and approval.
I'll second.
I have a question.
Okay, Commissioner Russell.
When we say effective immediately, this goes into effect tomorrow morning?
Once we get the legal final approval from legal counsel.
Okay.
And they're the ones recommending the changes, so I'm sure that'll happen quickly. And we do this to be in compliance with federal law.
Any other questions? All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, the same sign. The motion passes 7-0. So then that would bring us to a review of financials.
I did not have any questions
Any
about
questions?
me.
All right, then, any reports, recommendations? Special staff reports for commissioners?
Yeah, I would just give just a very brief update. We had a Housing Action Committee meeting yesterday afternoon, and most of the group is going to be doing a housing summit presentation down the road. So that's probably the most, I don't know, anything else from the meeting yesterday?
No, we talked about our relationship with the Housing North Association.
Right, and that's going to include the summits.
Right.
Hopefully.
Some,
If-
yeah.
Yes, if we get it through, there'll be some housing summits in the future that we can be a part of. Yeah, that's about it, I think.
Chair?
Yes.
Just a reminder, I'm putting my representative to the Community Mental Health Board on now. A reminder that the surveys of commissioners are due to Laurel, I think, this week.
It's a link and it's like a survey monkey.
A survey monkey,
Yeah,
yes.
you just do it online and it does it.
And
So
you,
I haven't seen that. Has that been sent out to
It was
us?
an email
Yeah,
that
it was,
just sent out today.
Twice. I have to look, I guess. I'm really leery because Ron's always sending things trying to get us.
Just try to
I'm not opening too much. Commissioner,
I just would like to mention that last Thursday, the opioid task force met, the whole coalition. And, things kind of stalled with the COVID going on, and the objective, I believe, going forward is to get our groups back together. Hopefully we can soon meet together, but start getting our core groups put back together and get programming and other things moving forward. Especially now since, a lot of the schools are going to be having the kids in the classroom. So just want to let you know that, we're ramping that up again, and a lot of good work is coming out of the 5 Coalition group, which supports Leelanau County in their messaging. So we'll have a little bit more information on that as we move along. And Ty, do you have anything to add?
just kudos to Deb for her leadership of that coalition, and for Greg, who's doing such a good job as the coordinator, Greg McMorrow.
Just a quick follow-up, Alan Campbell joined us, and he was so impressed, he's doing a feature story that will be, I think, in this week's Enterprise.
Well, we can't pat ourselves on the back too hard here, because we've kind of gotten stalled this year. So we need to really, kick this thing into place, because it is our kids that are at the greatest risk. So.
I think everyone was very enthusiastic about, let's go forward.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and Chet, if you will bring up David Pritchard's offer.
Yeah, we probably, this is unofficial yet, but on October 9th will be our next meeting. And the state police is going to bring this lab, and it'll be open for our employees and members of our task force to walk through. And there's different scenarios. I've not been through it, but it's very educational. And then, assuming that goes well, he's willing to come back, partner with us, and have it available to the public and in all the local schools.
And if I may elaborate a little bit on that, that is specifically designed for parents, grandparents, or caregivers. It, from what I understand, it is actually been created by the kids over at the TVA Center. They had a lot of input in this trailer, this mobile trailer. And it's a teaching opportunity for parents when you go through your child's room. I think it's called something like In Plain Sight.
Yeah.
And how parents don't see what is in plain
I
sight.
thought it was snooping.
Well, they use a
It's called
nicer
parenting.
term.
That's what we did.
But I really think that will be a great educational piece for the parents, especially with our kids,
So it trains them what to be looking for.
It helps them to be able to identify if there is a problem in their home, with their children in that regard. So I'm kind of excited about that.
Once we finalize all the details, we'll get that information out.
Commissioner Locke.
If I may, Yeah, earlier, I couldn't think of the name of this, and I want to go back to our Housing Action Committee meeting yesterday, because we had a great presentation from, it's called the Sleeping Bear Gateways Council. And they spoke all about a survey that they had done on the seasonal workforce housing or lack of. And it's just, it's available on the website under the HAC, the Planning Commission, the Planning Department, on everything that they found. And it just has a lot of interesting numbers in there, not a lot of surprises, right, Ty? Not a lot of surprises, but they're trying to do some different things, and one of the things they talked about was, I guess they called it bulletin board, and I called it like a broker, but basically to try to find housing and match any housing with the with workers that want to work in this area, especially during the summer months. And one of their ideas is, they called it helping a camper something, but basically, like, if they could set up a partnership with, is it Indigo out by Empire, the big campground there, that usually has some open spots. They can bring in some campers, and they have other facilities there, they could camp there for the summer and still work in the industries where we need them to work for the summer months. So anyway, it was a great, I thought they did a great job on the presentation, and that was what I wanted to share. But I couldn't think of the name of it. Sleeping Bear Gateways Council. Thank you.
That will bring us then to a public comment, and the number to call is 231-256-8109. 231-256-8109. Anyone else wants to do public comment, they can come forward and wave it up.
Mr. Price, any public? Oh, jeez.
All right, then, from that, while that, we're waiting to see if someone calls in, do we have any other commissioner comments? No?
Just one more question.
No,
Question.
not allowed. All right, so then that would bring us then to amendments and transfers. I think we have one here, Commissioner Wagner.
Yes, I would move to approve amendment number 20-009.
Second.
All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, the same sign. Motion passes 7-0.
I would move to approve claims and bank accounts, $231,176.62.
Second.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, the same sign. Motion passes 7-0.
I would move to approve post audit in the amount of $5,008,004.76.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, the same sign. Motion passes 7-0. What?
Did we get through our?
No, we didn't get any public comment.
Okay.
Okay, we are.